as I was ready to go live with a whole different subject matter that we'll still cover. Breaking news across the NFL wire as Calais Campbell has snubbed the Miami Dolphins for the Arizona Cardinals. This isn't a good sign, and we will talk about why when we get into it. Also, the Dolphins are doing their due diligence as they've met with multiple quarterbacks, and I'll tell you why the quarterbacks they met with mean something and are pointing towards something. So we got a lot to cover today on this episode. Smash that like button. I want you to subscribe if you are new. And as always, let's get into this one.
Loses the football. Touchdown! Got it!
You have got to be kidding me.
Jalen Waddle has a Dolphin touchdown. And he will score!
Field on the near side, man open. Touchdown!
The run from Tua Tagovailoa.
Touchdown!
He's going deep. It's not over the touchdown again.
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan. Let's go! What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for another one. Appreciate y'all coming through on this episode. As you do come in, please smash the like button. I want you to, of course, subscribe if you are new, as we are on the way to 20K. All right, I got a big giveaway planned there. All right, so please smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. And we are going to get into this. We got a lot to talk about. I got a few announcements. First, Saturday, cornerback show. I'll be dropping my cornerback big board, and you will not want to miss it because corner is a massive need. Hell, after today, we already did defensive tackle, so go back a couple days if you want to see my top. Go back a couple weeks and see if you want to see my top 15 defensive tackles in this class. Go ahead. The title of that video is Should the Miami Dolphins Double Dip in the NFL draft at defensive tackle? Hey, maybe after this is live, I'll pin it up here. We'll see how it all goes, all right? So, another thing I want to talk about here. Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern on Dudley Do-Wrong's channel. Listen, we've been working on this for a little while, all right? Me and Doug always talk. We're pretty good buddies. And I hit him up about a month and a half ago. I said, listen, I got this idea. I think we can make this work, and I think the fans are going to absolutely love it. So, I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm going to give you a little further teaser. We're going to be live 7 o'clock on Dudley's channel on Friday. We're going to rotate each week. One Friday there, then Friday here, and so on and so forth, okay? But we have two different formats. We have an off-season format, which we'll do now. And then we're going to have a regular season format to that show, which you are not going to want to miss. That regular season format, y'all are going to love it. I'm going to tell you this right now. Y'all are going to absolutely love what we got for you in the regular season. Maybe we'll go into detail before the regular season starts on our show. I don't even think we've dropped the name of the show, so you'll see it on Friday. But man, shout out to my boy FinHub. He's the producer of the show. He'll also be filling in for one of us and sometimes be joining us. So this is a 3-man effort we got going on right now. And we got an off-season format. We got a regular season format. And y'all gonna love it. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Y'all gonna love what we're cooking up for you, man. That regular season format, put your feet up in the air and prepare for the socks to be blown off, all right? All right? We got something real special coming for you guys. real special. And it all starts this Friday, 7 p.m. on Dudley Do Wrong's channel. All right? So make sure you tune into that and make sure you click the notification bell on his channel, on my channel, for whenever we go live, whenever we drop a video, because you ain't going to want to miss anything that we do. Trust me. All right? So there's that. You know what? Let's not even wait. Let's get into the good stuff. Let's go. Let's go. All right? Breaking news. 38 and still going. Standout defensive lineman and Dolphins free agent Calais Campbell is expected to sign with the Arizona Cardinals on a one-year deal. Sources say the former Walter Payton Man of the Year is set for another season. 38 years old with 17 seasons under his belt. Campbell isn't done. Now, for all of you wondering, hey, is this an April Fool's joke? It is not. The numbers have come in from Adam Schefter. If you are a patron or a channel member, what did I say? Now, I didn't have the Arizona Cardinals in the mix, but I had heard Calais was getting a raise. And sure enough, Calais Campbell is getting a raise. $5.5 million with the chance to earn up to $7.5 million, according to Adam Schefter. Now, I got a lot to say on this. I really do. Let's start off with the obvious. Let's start off with the obvious here, okay? And it's not April Fool's. It's not an April Fool's joke. This is legit. Adam Schefter has tweeted out the max value of the contract. So, for any of you thinking this may be an April Fool's joke, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's not. And in case you have any doubts and want to see, you know, Barry Jackson has also tweeted about this since it came out. Yeah, trust me, I was double checking. That's why I wasn't live at my original scheduled time, because I was double checking to make sure it was legit and we weren't getting fooled. And here's Adam Schefter. Deal 1 year, $5.5 million, max value of $7.5 million. And Ian Rappaport has reported this, as well as Adam Schefter. And like I said, Barry Jackson has come out and reported it as well. So, yeah, everything is indicating this is legit. It is. It is. I'm sorry. There's already articles about it, people. It's legit. I'm sorry. And I'm going to talk about this, and then we'll get a little bit more into it with what Barry had to say. But listen, you know, here's the thing, all right? And yes, we could have matched it, Brian, 110%. And listen, I don't want, listen, because I see Bari, you know, that's a good point. Most likely the last dance with the team that drafted him. That makes no sense, bro. That's not a Super Bowl. They are not a legit. We are closer to a Super Bowl than the Arizona Cardinals. Let's be honest here. From a roster standpoint, we are closer. Now, whether it all comes together, and they're in the NFC, which is much easier than the AFC. But, bro, like, I don't want to hear, well, I'm going back. Why did he come to Miami for last year? Because he thought we were a contender and he wanted to win. Why was Baltimore heavily in on him this cycle? Because contender, he had played there and he wants to win. To me, you want my opinion? This is the biggest bag, and that's where he went. They're not a contender. We were closer to being a winner when he joined us last year than these guys are to be the Super Bowl or winning the division or making a playoff run. Now, obviously, it didn't work out in our favor, but, I mean, you know, we all know what the preseason chatter was. We all know what the expectations were because we saw the year before in 2023. We all knew what the 2024 expectations were. I'm going to tell you this. Listen, And I am not trying to be, by any stretch of the imagination, I am not trying to be a conspiracy theorist. I'm just telling you my opinion and how I view this. This is not good. This tells me everything I need to know, basically. Let's put it that way. If he truly believed in this regime, if he truly believed in this roster, and if he truly believed we had a chance to make up for last year and run it back in more 2023 style and make a run for the division, I don't think Calais Campbell would have left. I just don't. I don't care what you tell me. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be a pessimist. I'm just trying to be objective. This is one of your biggest leaders. This is one of the people who that locker room all believed in. And what did he just show? What did he just show you? And listen, AJR, I thought about that. I don't think this is an indictment on Weaver, brother. I think this is a multiple layered thing. Ready for it? Get ready for it. I don't think Calais was a fan of how the Tyreek thing was handled. And by that, I mean, he's an old veteran player. Whose camp do you think he falls in? The young guys or something one like Richmond Webb, who I had up here, who had the look of pain in his eyes and said, you got to move on from this guy because you can't trust him again. I'm telling you, Calais was looking at that and like, yo, this is not good. I think that was a factor. I think the outlook of this team was a factor. Remember, Jordan Brooks, who's another leader in this team, was outspoken against what Tyreek did, and then he took a massive pay cut to stay here. Calais, I think, was like, brother, I don't know how much time I got left on the clock. I can't waste it on this nonsense. This could implode mid-season. And then I'm back to square one. And they're trying to trade me at the deadline again. Now, I'm just spitballing. This is all my thoughts and how I feel. I do not see this. This is not a positive sign. At all. You've lost a leader. I take this as he's jumping ship. He played his college ball here. 90% of the league has houses down here, including him. I say down here, I'm in Canada, but I'm talking about, Miami, South Florida. I mean, if we fix the holes, we're in a better position than the Arizona Cardinals are. Honestly, I'm telling you, man, like, this is not good. You just lost one of your most productive players and one of your best leaders. And you had the money. What's even more frustrating is they had the money to match Arizona if they wanted to. And we know Calais Campbell, him and Teron Armstead, they're holding up on weight on them. And don't forget, now I know I didn't cover it because I had Devin Jackson on yesterday. I get that. But look at Mike McDaniel and his presser yesterday. Mike McDaniel sounded more encouraged about Calais Campbell coming back than he did Teron Armstead. So what does this mean with Teron Armstead? And I agree with Big Mark. What Big Mark said right here, 110%. I agree with this. If he went to Baltimore, we would have been like, damn, but I get it. They're closer than we are. By far. I get it. That would have been much easier to pause, swallow. I agree. 110%. Merck nailed it. But the fact that he went to the Cards, how can you not read into this? And I think a couple things here. Gave up free tax too, 110%. Boom. Right there. Calais Campbell is a leader, not a babysitter. You couldn't have said it any better. I think the income tax rate, but what I'm seeing right now, it's about 2.5% in Arizona. They have a 5.6 state sales tax rate and a 4.9% corporate income tax rate. And, you know, see, but this don't make no sense. Return to Arizona, retire. He wanted to win, bro. He don't want to, like, this is why he came to us last offseason. This is why there was discussions of him going to Baltimore at the trade deadline that McDaniel stepped in and halted. We were going to send him to a team so he could win. This guy wants to win. Arizona ain't winning jack bo diddly. Nothing. And then now, if Terron Armstead turns around, retires, holy. Now you got no one stepping in for Calais, and you got Patrick Paul, who's not ready, at least from what I saw in year one. Who knows what's happened since the end of January to preseason. Anything can happen from a growth and developmental standpoint. But from the tape that he has from last year, he is not ready to assume that role. Reggie McKenzie, what did I tell y'all when he left for Tennessee? Brother, the guy, I kept telling y'all this, no one wanted to listen. The guy interviewed for a promotion. The guy got rejected on the promotion and ended up taking a lateral move to Tennessee, who's far more in a rebuild than the Miami Dolphins are. And I said back then, bro, is this guy see the ship, the ship sinking and he's jumping off right now? And now I see Calais Campbell doing this. If Terron Armstead retires, oh boy. I don't know, man. I'm sorry. I just, like, I just don't know how you can't read into this. After how last year went, I don't know how you can't read into this. I honestly don't. You know, I'm not going to lie to you. But before I went live here, I was on the phone with old Miami Dolphin fan. I said, bro, am I reading too far into this? He said, nah, Reason, you aren't. So I made sure someone had the ability to check me before I even turned on the camera for you guys. Because, you know, for the most part, I try to be, well, you know, for not the most part, for everything I do, I try to be logical and reasonable, you know, but I wanted to make sure I wasn't being illogical, unreasonable before I went live. And apparently I'm not. So, you know, I'll take it. But, I mean, listen, I don't know how you slice this positively. I don't think anyone can sit up here and slice this in a positive manner. And if anyone tries to sell you, well, he's just going back to Arizona because they drafted him. Look them dead square in the face and say, then why did he say he came to Miami last year? Because he wanted to contend for a championship. Why were we talking about trading him to Baltimore at the deadline? Because he wanted to play for a contender to win a championship. What, now all of a sudden that doesn't matter? He got even older and it doesn't matter? Come on. You ain't selling that water to this well. I'm sorry, it ain't happening. Man. Go get me Kenneth Grant, baby. I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm pushing the narrative even harder. If Will Johnson falls to 13, take him. Then trade back up into that first and go get Kenneth Grant. Pair the Michigan boys together. Finish off that defense. Because anyone who tells you Kenneth Grant can only play 0, I don't know what they're smoking. I don't know what they're digesting. I don't know what they're snorting. I don't know what they're sniffing. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what they're injecting. I don't know. But you look at that athleticism of that man. You look at the weight he shed. Anyone tries to tell you this guy can't play a 3-tech or a 4-eye, man, I got a sunny beachfront property in the freaking Northwest Territories to sell you, okay? So, I'm going to tell you this. Go get me Kenneth Grant. Go get me Walter Nolan. Mason Graham ain't falling to you. I know Devin Jackson's big on Derek Harmon. And double dip. You know, go get CJ West at 116. Go get Ty Robinson. Guys who weren't able to make my top 15 because this defensive tackle class is so stacked. But I could have made a top 20 list, and the worst grade would have probably been a late 5th. Go get me some defensive tackles and potentially double up, baby. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm going to tell you this. We need more picks right now in between 48 and 98. Because we need a corner, we need a guard, and we need at least one defensive tackle. So, that's it. Scotty ain't lying. I told y'all. I told each and every one of y'all. Liam Eichenberg and Larry Borum. Liam Eichenberg, Jack Driscoll, 2024 preseason and you know, all over again. Liam Eichenberg and Larry Borum are 2024 preseason Eichenberg and Jack Driscoll scenes. When they signed Jack Driscoll, I said, there's your battle at right guard. And I got a bad feeling here. I got a real bad feeling here. Real bad feeling. But now you pigeonholed yourself. Now you put yourself in a position where the whole league knows what your holes are now. You went from creating flexibility in the draft and on pace to doing a good job of it to, yeah, now we're talking roughness. $400 of you, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new. And like, what if Will Johnson falls? And like me and Devin talked about yesterday, what if Will Johnson falls and Will Campbell falls? And Terron Armstead retires? What do you do? Or Membo falls, what do you do? Now you're in such a bad position. You got two premium positions, and you know what they'll do. They'll take Will Johnson. They won't even consider the tackle because of Patrick Paul. Which, and honestly, I'm the Will Johnson guy since what, October, November on this channel every Thursday with Neil. I've been saying, imagine if Will Johnson falls to us. I've been saying it since like October, November. But man, if Armand, Membo, or Will Campbell are there, how can you trust Patrick Paul up against one of those prospects? Are you crazy? Yeah, they'll take Mike Green. Don't joke. I got a real bad feeling about that. The one is if Jalen Walker falls. No, where they'd really mess me up is if Will Johnson and Will Campbell are member on the board and Mykel Williams from Georgia's on the board, and they take the Georgia edge rusher. I'll lose my mind. I will lose my mind. If that happens, make sure you tune in live because I'll be flipping out. Crazy. Absolutely crazy, man. I mean, I don't know. They don't sound encouraged about Terron Armstead at all. And including yesterday in his presser, like I said, they sound plenty encouraged about Calais returning. So what does this truly mean for Terron Armstead? Are the beat reporters who are reporting the rumblings they're hearing is he's going to retire, and the quote we keep getting from Mike McDaniel that we're operating like he's not going to come back, is that what the deal is? Because if it is, oh boy. Oh man, I'm going to tell you this much. I'm a Will Johnson guy, but I would take Will Campbell or Membo at 13. And then at 48, I would try and land my boy Trey Amos or someone. I know we've been saying since October, November as well. We think he's going to be a big fan of Benjamin Morrison. Now he has injury issues right up Greer's alley, but that guy's a first round talent if he doesn't have those issues. I could see that being the pick at 48. Revel, love Revel. I don't know if they'll go there because of the slot. He's more so projecting as a slot early on right now. I don't know if they'll go there. Man. If you would have brought back Calais Campbell, would have been a lot more comfortable. Now, I have been saying whether he's going to come back or not shouldn't stop you from drafting 2 defensive tackles, and that point stands even firmer as he announced he ain't coming back. This is terrible. This is absolutely terrible. I think 48 might be a little high for Porter. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that's where you're hoping maybe like a guy like Maxwell Hairston falls, or like I said, Benjamin Morrison. Revel might still be on the board. I do think that might be just a little high. I do think that might just be a little too high. Anyways, here's more on the Calais Campbell situation from the Miami Herald. And already in a precarious position with their defensive line, the Dolphins' outlook on the position grew even more worrisome on Tuesday when Calais Campbell spurned Miami, accepted a 1-year, $5.5 million deal with the Arizona Cardinals. The deal has another $2 million in incentives per ESPN. The Dolphins wanted Campbell back. Mike McDaniel said Monday that the sides have been in contact. He was a very important player. He was a very important player to the team last year. I see him having the opportunity to be a very important player on the team this year. Well, Mike, your crystal ball was just a little cloudy, my friend. So, he's going to have the opportunity to be a big player on another team. Thank you very much. But Campbell instead opted to return to the team that drafted him, where he spent the first 9 seasons of his career. The Dolphins, with $16.5 million in cap space. Unbelievable. Could have matched or exceeded Arizona's offer. Now, I get not exceeding it, but you could have matched it. Campbell, 38, was exceptional for Miami last season, producing 52 tackles and 5 sacks while helping the Dolphins finish in the top 10 in run defense. Pro Football Focus rated him the 6th best defensive lineman in the league in terms of 2024 performance. The Dolphins have only one above-average defensive lineman under contract in Zach Sealer, who's amazing. They have a nose tackle in Benito Jones, who is consistently graded out among the worst in the league. Their only other 2 defensive linemen under contract are journeyman Matt Dickerson and Neil Farrell. Oh boy. The Dolphins are expected to try and find a starting defensive lineman in the draft. 4 defensive tackles are projected for the first round: Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, Derek Harmon, and Walter Nolan. The Dolphins have the 13th pick, and Graham is widely projected to be drafted in the top 10. The other 3 are projected in the 20s, with some rating Grant higher than that. That would be me. The remaining free agent class on the defensive line is largely a bereft of starters. The most established player still unsigned is Zadarius Smith, 270-pounder, who had 9 combined sacks for Detroit and Cleveland last season, but he's an edge player. You're not putting him on the interior. With Campbell and Javon Holland leaving, Miami is poised to pick up a 4th-round compensatory pick in 2026. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Yay. Franklin Higgins says, don't be shocked if they trade down for more picks. And listen, I would be down for that, but if Will Johnson or Will Campbell or Amon Membo are on the board, I wouldn't trade back. Now, if those guys are gone and you think you can trade back and still get like Kenneth Grant, knock yourself out. I'd be down. If they got rid of Tyreek, I bet he would have stayed. I don't blame him for leaving, to be honest. I don't agree with the direction either. What can you say? I mean, no lies told. No lies told. I don't agree with the direction at all. You know, you've now went from trying to position yourself, and it was obvious, trying to position yourself to where you could do whatever you wanted at 13-48. And now you've hindered yourself where you've got to double dip in this deep of a defensive tackle class. You have to. And I'm going to be honest with you. I've talked about it, creating more cap space. Maybe you go and do it now. I'd give Steeler new money. I'd go sign Steeler to an extension, see what he wants. If the money is astronomical, restructure him, create the money. I'd try and re-sign Jordan Brooks right now too. But you look at all the one-year contracts and how this is setting up. If this don't pop off this year, they're putting themselves in a reason where they could blow it up. But even if you are intending to blow it up, Zach Steeler is part of your core. Lock him up now. Problem is, and I've said this as well, he's going to look at how much money Wilkins got. He's going to look at his production with and without Wilkins, and he's going to say, clearly I was a cog here. Pony up, big boy. That's tough. That is tough, man. And I get it, man. We're sitting here disappointed by a 38-year-old player, but he's one of the best leaders in the NFL. He's still playing at an elite level. How would you not be sad? Especially if you're a Hurricanes fan. Shout out to Penn. She gifted 5 Phinside The NFL memberships. Tyson C., Sardi, Dan CC, Deontay Moore, and Sackman56, all beneficiaries of Penn's amazing kindness and ability to continue to keep growing the Phinside fam the way she does. Hey, now that you guys are members, go check the community post tab. You'll have access to it. I said Calais was in line for a raise, and it was going to probably double his salary. And boy, there you go. Another day as a Dolphin fan, huh? Never easy. Never easy. I'll tell you that much. Just never gets easy. And when it does think you're trending in the right direction, God comes down and pulls the rug right from out under your feet. Reason this team is turning into a mess because of 1 or 2 players that don't care. I agree with it. And you know what? I'll go further than that. Is another reason why Calais Campbell is leaving because he sees what we all see, that there's serious culture issues in that locker room? Kind of goes to your point. Kind of goes to my point earlier. Jordan Brooks was vocal about his unhappiness for what Tyreek did, took a pay cut to remain here. He's a leader. Calais Campbell is an old school guy. I'm sure he was not happy at all about what Tyreek did. Didn't want to get in the middle of it. And he looked at how he handled it, and he's like, these guys are just not serious. That's it. That's it. You know? Now, shout out to Taron Armstead. We got about $16.5 million in cap, so we got the money if Armstead wants to come back. And hey, that's another guy. One of the best leaders in the locker room. Look at how instrumental he was in helping with Chop. Right? Chop talked about it all the time. But like Calais, when Armstead plays and he's healthy, he's damn near elite. So you're going to lose another potential elite player when he's healthy that next to Calais is probably your best leader in that locker room. Because I've already been on record in saying this. There is no way any person in that locker room should vote for a C to be on Tyreek Hill's chest if he's here on opening day. There's just no way. No way. Now, what were we originally going to talk about today before that news broke, before I went live? Let's talk about the Miami Dolphins. And let's talk about a few things here that I want to go over. All right? A few things. So let's start here. How the Miami Dolphins are spending money. This was a good article from Barry. Actually, you know what? You can go check that out. It's in the article. You guys can go check it out. You guys can go do that. We're not gonna go over that. I want to go because we're just not gonna have time. So what I want to go over is the Miami Dolphins are doing their due diligence with the draft class, in specific the quarterbacks. 1017 man says, Greer coach know that the season is scorching and this team needs young, unproven players to push it to overperforming. Yeah, but it's not like you have 4 or 5 picks in the top 100. So, you know. So, let's show you what's going on right here. All right. Now, the Miami Dolphins, they are doing their due diligence for sure when it comes. They're taking a quarterback. I'm telling y'all right now. They're taking a quarterback in this draft. Be prepared. So, when we look at this and that right here, go read the article about all the money. All right, this article, it's pretty good but I just want to talk about specifically this and that. All right, and I'm talking about all of this right here. So let's talk about this. All right, let's talk about this. So, the Dolphins have been spending time with quarterbacks in this draft class, including a dinner with Texas's Quinn Ewers. We already discussed this. We already covered this, right? Tony Pauline broke that. Last week, assistant GM Marvin Allen attended Louisville quarterback Tyler Shuck's workout. They've met with Alabama's Jalen Milroe and Dylan Gabriel. Syracuse's Kyle McCord has been evaluated. This could simply be a case of due diligence, but agent Drew Rosenhaus predicted on his WSVN Fox TV segment that Miami will draft a quarterback, and that wouldn't be surprising in the wake of Tagovailoa missing 6 games last season. This matters, people. I'm telling you right now, and I'll tell you why this matters. Look at the range those players are in, starting with Milroe. Look at the range these guys are in. This looks back to what me and Devin were talking about. They're going to start taking quarterbacks seriously at 98 or 116. I'm telling you right now. You've got 4 picks between 116 and 155. I think that's the prime spot. Now, you look at none of these are first round names. And look at the range you're talking about here. You're looking from listen, should I go by how I grade or should I go by, where I think they're going to go based on the NFL and their love of quarterbacks? Now, we did talk about this yesterday, me and Devin Jackson's fantastic conversation, by the way, if you haven't checked it out. And we talked about this. It's all going to depend. It's really going to depend on if teams are going to wait around thinking they can get quarterbacks later because they want to make runs on defensive tackle, wide receiver, edge, where, second and third round are prime locations. Corner is another one that can have a nice run on it. The safety class is going to have its run in there probably too. I look at this as they're looking, you want my opinion? They're looking at these as third round, some of these as third round options. I don't think they're taking one with 13 or 48, but if Jalen Milroe's on the board at 98, they're taking it. If Quinn Ewers is on the board at 98 or 116, he's going at one of those 2 spots to them. I'm telling you. Or Quinn Ewers is going in that 116 to 155 range where they got 4 picks. Dylan Gabriel. I don't want Dylan Gabriel. But that's a guy you could probably get in that 116 to 155 range. Kyle McCord is probably going to have to be like 98. But I think he's going to be gone by then. Tyler Shuck, I think, is going to be gone by 98. But he makes sense. I know a lot of teams are high on Tyler Shuck. Listen, we can sit here until we're blue in the face, talk about his injuries. We could talk about the fact he's going to be 26 in September. But here's the fact. Watch the film. Evaluate this class. Sanders, Dart, all these guys not named Cam Ward need to sit at least 1 year. But if you want to go into that group outside of Ward, who's probably the most pro-ready in year one, it's probably Tyler Shuck. From a standpoint of, hey, our quarterback gets hurt an average of 6 games a year, and we need someone that could probably potentially have to play in year one, because who knows what happens to Zach Wilson. I mean, Skylar Thompson got hurt behind this offensive line last year. Let's not forget. So, you know, and if Patrick Paul and Liam Eichenberg are your left side, the blind side for Zach Wilson, oh boy. But anyways, I go back to Tyler Shuck. He's probably the most pro-ready in year one. Now, I've already said this. I'll tell you this right now, okay? I'll call up New England right now, and I will give them a pick. I don't want to give them 116, but I'll give them one of those 4 picks in between 116 and 155. And I would go get Joe Milton. I've already said this. I did a whole video on this. All right, I did a whole video on this. So you guys know what I feel like this. He's had a year of NFL coaching. I don't care what anyone says. He looked really good against the Buffalo Bills. And yeah, were they backups? 110%. But they weren't preseason scrubs who were going to be stocking the shelf in Walmart. They were legitimate NFL players. I would call them and say, you want 135? You want 150? You want 155 for Joe Milton? Let's go right now. If I'm going to take a guy who's a project in this draft, I might as well take the guy who's already had a year of NFL coaching and was making some ridiculous throws on tape against that Buffalo team. Yeah, but you know what the difference between Zach Wilson and Tyler Shuck is? You ready for it? Here you go. You ready for it? Tyler Shuck doesn't have bad NFL habits that need to be coached out of him. He doesn't have bad NFL coaching that needs to be coached out of him from Wilson's time at the Jets. Wilson has all those things. You know, a guy like Shuck, even with his age, listen, there's not much ceiling left, but he's a high floor player. But from an NFL level standpoint, you can mold him. Zach Wilson, you got to coach bad traits out of and new traits into. A lot more work when you actually think about it, as opposed to a fresh mind, a fresh player. Anthony, shout out to Anthony, says, man, how bad is it in Miami that he took relatively similar money to play for a weaker team in a state with income tax? I'm sick, bro. Yeah. I agree. I agree 110%. Listen, I don't know how you put a positive spin on this. I don't know how you put a positive spin on this. I don't. I'm not going to sit up here and even try. So, yeah. I don't know. Now, back to the, this quarterback thing. Listen, I don't know, man. I'm going to tell you this right now. I've been warning y'all since like August, September. I got a bad feeling about Quinn Ewers. And it's not just that we like him. I'm just not a fan. That arm is just... Listen, I know it looked a little live at the Underwear Olympics, but put on the film, man. Like, how many adjustments did Matthew Golden or Isaiah Bond have to make to throws? Same thing with Worthy when he was there. And Adonai Mitchell. Like, Like, when you watch the film, it's just not good. You know, I just don't get it. I don't get, and we're not the only one. I've heard league-wide teams are enamored with this kid. It was one of the big things coming out of the combine. I don't get it. I'm trying to see it. And I just don't. Even before last year, I just don't, man. Now, Kyle McCord, he could run this offense, but he's, he needs a little bit more polishing. Jalen Milroe, I mean, Jesus. Jalen Milroe might be able to come in and win you games with his legs, but at the same time, I've been on record saying this. I think he could be a mitigated disaster in year one as a passer. I really do. I don't want Dylan Gabriel. Tyler Shuck. The problem with Tyler Shuck is where he's going to go, man. I've heard first, second round for Tyler Shuck. I'm telling you, the NFL is high on this kid. I don't get it. And then obviously I want my boy Dart, but you'd have to take him at 13, and I'm not taking Dart at 13. There ain't a bigger Dart guy in this community, but go back to August and September when I was pushing Dart. I was saying at 48 in the second round. I was not saying first round. Now, if you put a gun to my head and said, "Reason, you have to take a quarterback in the first round, not Nate Cam Ward because we need one," okay, I'm taking Dart. I'm going on the upside. That kid, man, in the right situation. I'm telling you right now, if Jackson Dart lands with like a team like the Rams, watch the F out. Watch the F out. Would I take Milroe at 98? Yeah. You got to bet on, you have to bet on that talent and those traits at 98. You just have to. You just have to. I don't like Riley Leonard. I don't like Will Howard. I don't like Dylan Gabriel. Like, I'd rather take Seth Hennigan than those guys out of Memphis. I'm not even lying. I'd rather take Seth Hennigan. Everyone knows I love Seth Hennigan as like a deep sleeper at quarterback. But yeah, I'd rather take Seth Hennigan. So, man. Yeah, but they're taking it serious. They're going to draft one. Get ready. I like Curtis Rourke and Brady Cook too. Max Brosmer, I think the Shanahan tree from Minnesota. I think the Shanahan tree is going to love a kid like Max Brosmer. I bet you a Shanahan tree team takes Max Brosmer out of Minnesota. I can almost, I'd bet someone on that too, to be honest with you, if I could. So, the Miami Dolphins, they are doing their due diligence with the draft class. And like I said, look at the range those players are. It looks like they're starting to take it seriously in the third, fourth round. That's where it looked like it's going to be. So I've said I thought between 115 to 155, those four picks, I thought that made the most sense, right? I'm sorry, 116, 135, 150, 155. One of those four picks makes the most sense for me. But hey, and I would call New England and see if they're willing to take one of those for Milton. Why not? What do you got to lose? Now, another announcement for all of y'all. Did you check in this? You ready for this? I got it for y'all. Okay, we're going to get into an article here. Next Monday, all right? Y'all better tune in. Monday, April 7th, 10 a.m. Eastern. Special morning start time. That's the time that I was asked if I could make available, and I confirmed. Top ESPN draft analyst Jordan Reed will be on the channel next Monday at 10 a.m. All right? We are going to obviously pick his brain about the Dolphins and the draft. But man, this is Mel Kiper's successor. This is an ESPN big dog. And I always try to bring you guys the best draft coverage there is. So, next Monday, 10 a.m., Jordan Reed will be joining me, and we will be breaking down the Dolphins and the NFL draft. Tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, I will be live, our annual sit-down with Ryan Roberts, one of the top draft analysts in the community. We are going to talk to him. He's with A to Z Sports. He's still doing his thing, for Notre Dame and stuff too. We are going to have him on. We are going to discuss, remember, his dad's a Dolphin fan, so he's all head first into Dolphin stuff. So we are going to have Ryan Roberts tomorrow night at 7:30. Next Monday, we are going to have ESPN draft analyst Jordan Reed with us to discuss. And we got some more things I'm lining up behind the scenes. Man, it's draft season, baby. We're bringing it around. All right. So next week, make sure you mark that on your schedule. It's looking like 10 a.m. Eastern. If anything changes, I will let you know. But that is the time that was given to me, and that is the time I confirmed. So that's where it stands right now. All right. So let's get into an article. And this article is from ESPN. It's from Matt Miller and Jordan Reed. And they're going top prospect fits for teams. All right. And here is what they said for the Miami Dolphins. I believe for Americans, it's behind a paywall. One of the great things about being in the Great White North is they don't have paywalls on ESPN for me. So the top three needs, they said safety, guard, defensive line. Cornerback and defensive line could be swapped here, especially if Calais Campbell chooses to return to the Dolphins. But after losing Javon Holland to the Giants, Miami could use a starting safety. Ifeatu Malafanu and Ashton Davis haven't been full-time NFL starters, and they come with injury concerns. The Dolphins signed James Daniels to man one of their open guard spots, but still lack a starter on the other side. After releasing Kendall Fuller, the Dolphins also need a starting quarterback opposite of Jalen Ramsey. There are several immediate holes, and the team has 10 draft picks to address them. So the prospect to fill a need outside of round one, they have Xavier Watts, the safety from Notre Dame. Watts is an instinctive ball hawk who had 13 interceptions in his college career. He could step right into the starting lineup as a versatile safety and help compensate for the loss of Holland. And, they make a good point. Safety makes a ton of sense too. Now, I do think corner, defensive tackle, and guard are a little bit more of a dire situation. In fact, I have cornerback. We're going to be doing the cornerback big board on Saturday for all of you. And then the boards that I've decided to do after that, I have come with a little bit of an idea. I might let you guys, I might give you guys a chance to vote on it. I don't know yet. But the big boards that I've decided we will start doing after this is we're going to do safety next week. Then we are going to do tight end after that, quarterback after that. All right? So, and that might switch up. I might do safety and then quarterback, but it's looking like it's going to be safety, quarterback, and tight end, and cornerback are the next four big boards I'm going to be dropping for all of you. And as always, if you're a Patreon or channel member, all the big boards that do not make video format on the channel, you will get every other big board in text format to all patrons and channel members before the draft, okay? So there you go, okay? I'm going to be doing cornerback this week, safety next week, and then tight end and quarterback. I don't know how they're going to be. I don't know how we're going to swap them out, but that is where we're going to be at. Speaking of defensive tackles, the Miami Dolphins, they are hosting Rutgers football defensive tackle Keontae Hamilton on an in-person 30 visit, a source confirmed. Hamilton ran a 1.7 10-yard split at 305 pounds at the Pro Day. Would have been third best among DTs at the NFL Combine. 4 sacks in 2024. This is going to be a day 3 / UDFA player in my position. In my opinion. So, he had 11 tackles for loss in 4 years. I think he's going to be a late day 3 pick or a UDFA. Now, remember, when they mean 30 visit, all NFL teams can bring in 30 players for pre-draft meetings with medical tests, and Hamilton will be one of those 30. For example, Devon Achane, before we drafted him, was a top 30 visit. So, You know, these are players they're taking serious, right? When you're bringing in top 30 players, especially when you have 10 picks, right? So there you go. A defensive tackle, but, you know, not quite a Calais Campbell caliber, you know, filler, let's be honest, replacement. So, just a few things that happened today at the NFL owner meeting, if you guys didn't see it. Overtime change is coming for the regular season. The NFL owners have voted to align the regular season overtime rules more closely with the postseason overtime rules. Under the OT rules in the postseason, the period is 15 minutes long and both teams are guaranteed a possession. Even if the team that gets the ball first scores a touchdown, both teams will now be guaranteed a possession during overtime in the regular season, but the period is only 10 minutes long. All right? Under the previous regular season rule, the team that got the ball first could win the game by scoring a touchdown on their first possession, but that's no longer the case. Touchbacks will be moving out to the 35-yard line. Under last season's rule, the touchback was at the 30-yard line, but starting with 2025, the touchback will be moved out to the 35-yard line. This change is being made with the hope that it'll discourage the kicking team from simply booting the ball out of the end zone on a kickoff, knowing that the return team automatically gets the ball at the 35-yard line. Getting the ball at the 35 is huge because that means a team would need to gain just 20 to 25 yards to get into field goal range. The league's internal data shows a 65 to 75% return rate if the touchback is moved to the 35, more than double the rate of last year. Replay assistant can now help with even more penalties. With the owners approving expansion of replay assist, 5 new penalties can now be overturned by the booth: hitting a defensive player, face mask, horse collar, tripping, and roughing or running into the kicker. One notable aspect of this proposal is that the replay assistant will not call penalties that weren't flagged on the field. For instance, if an obvious face mask is missed on the field, replay assist can't go back and tell the referees to throw a penalty on the play. However, if a face mask flag is thrown on a play where the face mask penalty did not actually happen, then the replay assist can step in and have that flag picked up. Now, flexing rules for Thursday night games to undergo slight change. For the past few years, the NFL has been able to flex any Thursday night game held between week 13 and week 17, but the league had to give 28 days notice. However, that's no longer the case. The owners have voted to trim that number down to 21 days, which means the NFL can now wait longer before deciding whether to flex a Thursday game. NFL modifies uniform policy. If you love throwback jerseys, then you're going to love this. NFL teams can now wear throwbacks or alternate uniforms a total of 4 times per season. Under the previous policy, the number was just 3. First downs will now be measured electronically. The chain gang could soon be extinct. The NFL announced that the league will use Sony's Hawkeye technology as the primary method for measuring first downs in 2025. The NFL tested the system in 2024, and the league is now comfortable with using it, according to Troy Vincent, the NFL's executive vice president of football operations. Although the chain gang is being replaced, it's not going away yet. The chain gang will still be on the field in 2025 to serve as the backup crew in case there are any issues with technology. And a proposal to change the playoff format has been tabled. Under this proposal, a wildcard team could be seeded higher than a division winning team if the wildcard team has a better record. All the division winners would still be guaranteed a playoff berth, but they wouldn't be guaranteed a home playoff game. If this rule had been in place last season, the Vikings were 14-3, would have been the 3rd seed in the NFC instead of the 5th seed. So that has been tabled. That is not coming to fruition quite yet. So we do have a bunch of rule changes that'll be impacting. Obviously, the biggest ones for next year are going to be replay assist can pick up flags. That's a big one, right? You know, face mask, hitting a defensive player, horse collar, tripping and roughing into the kicker. Those can now be reversed. Touchbacks moving out to the 35-yard line is huge. Overtime, you know, now you got a chance if the team scores a touchdown, it's not over. That's interesting. And first downs being measured electronically, man, the time of iRobot is upon us. Guys, smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. I'm going to be back tomorrow night. I'm going to be back with the homie Ryan Roberts for our annual draft discussion. You are not going to want to miss that. It's going to be good, man. It's going to be good. I can't wait for y'all. So make sure you tune in. And it's going to be a good one. I think we always have good conversations. All right. So smash the like button, subscribe if you are new. And I will see y'all tomorrow with Ryan Roberts. All right. Fins up all day, every day. See you on the next one. Calais is gone. Who knows what's on the horizon with Teron Armstead? We're going to find out very soon. Appreciate y'all, and we'll see you on the next one. Fins up all day, every day.